Good evening. I am the Maven of the Eventide. Welcome to Vampire Reviews. Reviews. Tonight, we discuss Neil Jordan's 1994 film Interview with the Vampire. Of all the tentpoles in vampire cinema, I consider this film to be at the center of the apex of the tent that all vampire films are under. And the reason can be summed up in 4 of the deepest words ever spoken. It brought sexy back. Throughout literary history, vampires have been portrayed countless ways, from ghoulish fiends, to dapper gentlemen, to vivacious lesbians, to, these days, broody heartthrobs. There's no denying that our culture is in the midst of an ongoing vampire craze. Seriously, vampires are so hot right now. How did we ever get to this point? At first, it wasn't so bad, but it's gotten out of control. Well, it never would have reached this level if it had not been for this one film. For better or for worse, we have Interview with the Vampire to thank. In the 5 years preceding this one, we saw more than a dozen vampire films. And 2 were big ones. Like the others, Dracula and Buffy were all told from the point of view of the humans, the hunters, the victims, the damsel in distress. Vampires were the antagonists, either monsters or rakish fiends. And the movies ended when the vampires were defeated. Any girl-on-vampire action was an expression of victimization or deception on the vampire's part. And then, this came along.
Oh, yeah. I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah. Watch your eye attack.
And suddenly, we were shown the world from the vampire's point of view. The plot of the movie is Louie's life story as he tells it to an interviewer. He begins his tale with the night he became a vampire, recounts his difficulties with the experiences that follow, and it focuses solely on vampire-on-vampire relationships.
Whiny coward of a vampire who prowls the night.
Interview was the first to show us this side of a vampire's existence, and despite Dracula and Buffy's relative success, their reception paled in comparison to Interviews. Seriously, no movie has come along to top Interview in popular appeal or box office success until Twilight. But without Interview, there never would have been a Twilight. And Van Helsing doesn't count. Back in the 90s, cinema and television took notes on Interview success and latched on to the formula.
Just one look into your eyes, one look and I'm crying, 'cause you're so beautiful.
And the world fell in love with vampire whoopies. Think about it. What is the main difference between this and this? That's right.
Vampire. With a human soul. An immortal with a mortal's passion.
Sound familiar?
The elders conjured the perfect punishment for me. They restored my soul. You have no idea what it's like to have done the things I've done. And to care. I haven't fed on a living human being since that day.
And then we have the lovable, snarky bad boy brat expressing sheer exuberance for his vampiric existence who gets redeemed.
You're still life in the old lady yet.
Bitch.
After that, it was only a short step to this and this. Yes, Interview with the Vampire was our gateway drug. I'm not saying that it was the first to ever do it, but as far as mainstream contemporary culture goes, this film is single-handedly responsible for the shift in popular point of view from vampires as monsters to vampires as desirable. Before, Vampires as sex symbols were focused on repression and sin, evil, and giving in to them was to succumb to the evil. Now, they're eligible boyfriends. And better, wiser, kinder, and gentler people than most humans are. Interview gave us the relatable, the conflicted, the emotional, torn apart by their very nature. It brought the broody, melancholy vampire trope to the main stage. And I'm not just talking about Louie, I mean, he's so obvious he needs no explanation.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me?
Let's take a look at Lestat. Yes, Lestat, the face that launched 1,000 vampires, and directly inspired an award-winning RPG franchise. Lestat is the vampire that sires Louie. He comes out of nowhere one night and offers Louie the chance of a lifetime, and Louie, in the choice he regrets for 200 years, takes it.
The dark gift is different for each of us.
Lestat serves as his teacher, mentor, and ambiguously gay life partner. At first, Louis suspects Lestat changed him because he wants a sugar daddy.
We're lucky to have such a home.
But Lestat, having Louis' best interests at heart, wants to draw out Louis' vampire nature.
Oh, yes!
And, in his own flamboyant way, teaches Louis the ways of vampire existence, through song, dance, and pretentiously quoting Shakespeare at dramatic moments.
I cannot give it vital breath again. It needs must wither.
I wonder if he shouts, "Out, damn spot!" every time he gets a drop of blood on his ruffly white shirt. A pox on both your houses! In a fit of melodramatic emo, Louis runs away to try to escape him. And so Lestat makes the vampire child Claudia to keep Louis with him.
You're mine and Louis' daughter now.
Having a baby is not a healthy way to save a marriage, folks.
One happy family.
Now, I would like to take a moment to touch briefly on the subject of homoeroticism. Despite rumors that Tom Cruise insisted that anything that was too gay be cut out of the script, there's no denying that there are elements of it in the film.
Yankees are not your taste.
Aw, Claudia has 2 daddies.
But I'm not gay.
But I'll tell you right now that vampires in this franchise don't work that way. Now that is a subject for a whole nother night. But suffice to say for now, they aren't really a couple.
If you were gay, I'd shout, hooray! I am not listening. And here I'd stay.
But considering Louis in his I hate you vampire dad phase, they end up whiling away the years more just like fabulous vampire roommates. I wish I had vampire roommates. For you, Lindsay, you can pretend it's wine.
It is wine.
Call El Gato Negro wine.
I gotta put this out.
There are no main or supporting human characters in Louis' life story. In fact, there are hardly any human characters in the movie at all. I can't die like this. They don't count. And in this world of vampire versus vampire, where morality can only be relative to his own code of survival, Louis' understanding of evil gradually develops the more he learns the ways of his own kind. First, Lestat is seen as an evil for encouraging Louie's vampire nature.
But just remember, life without me would be even more unbearable.
And he's right. No crime he commits against Louie is as great as the one Claudia commits when she tries to kill Lestat. Suddenly, Lestat doesn't seem so bad.
I have wronged Lestat. I have hated him for the wrong reasons.
Later, Claudia hurts Louie even more when she forces him to make another vampire.
You give her to me, Louie! Do this before you leave me!
What died in that room was not that woman. What has died is the last breath in me. That was human.
But even that pales in comparison to what occurs when Louie meets Armand. Ugh, Armand. Seriously? Hang on a second. There. That's more like it. Well, despite how off the look is, there's no denying that Antonio Banderas is so sexy. And the movie's marketability gains another 100 sexy bonus points when he appears. Armand is the leader of the coven of vampires Louie and Claudia meet in Paris after they escape Lestat.
Welcome to my home.
So you have the answer? So you have questions?
Armand entices Louie with the hope of finding answers to his existential crisis because he hopes Louie can become the companion he's been pining for.
Then there is nothing? Perhaps. Well, perhaps this is the only real evil left.
How does he make that look so sexy? I can't tell if he's kind of in pain or amazingly turned on or both. Oh, I have to try that. No! Just pain!
It's time for justice, little one!
So, without human antagonists, the climax of Louis's tragic life story is inflicted upon him by his own kind. In the crowning moment of evil, Armand has the theater vampires murder Claudia so that he can have Louis for himself. And even though Louis is a murdering, blood-drinking, supernatural creature of horror, the audience empathizes with his humanity. And our hearts break with his.
The heart that mourns her. Her that you burnt to a cinder. Louis, I swear I did. Ah, but I know you did. I know. You regrets nothing. You feels nothing.
Now, compared to Armand, Lestat looks like downright bring home to mother material.
Who are you, Louie? And do what it is in your nature to do.
I'm a spirit of preternatural flesh. Detached. Unchangeable. Empty. Empty. That's it?
Oh, right. Christian Slater is in this too. Now, we all know what's become of vampires in the 17 years since this movie. And with the trans popularity, the more traditional horror vampires continue to thrive as well. But no one thing has had as much impact on popular culture's point of view. Everything that has happened since has been able to ride the high of the delicious monster that this franchise created. Yes, Bram Stoker's Dracula was a big, beautiful film, but the story itself always remains a cautionary tale. And though they heighten the sex appeal, being lectured to about the consequences of giving into indulgence is never sexy in the end. One of interview's many themes is about making the most of your existence, whatever your lot may be, and doing it with style.
You don't understand yourself. You're not empty. What people wouldn't give to be like, what I wouldn't give to be like you, to have your power, to be able to have seen the things that you've seen in your life.
You haven't been listening.
Yes, I have been listening. The story you told me is incredible. It's amazing.
You want a companion.
You want to link to the outside world? Well, that's me. I mean, take me. That's what I want. I want what you have. I refuse to let it end like this.
After watching this movie, who isn't on Christian Slater's side here? Yes, audiences wanted more of these beautiful, empathetic, tortured soul vampires. We wanted to be one with them. We wanted to be part of their world. We wanted to give them hugs. And Hollywood listened and ran with it. And whether we like it or not, that's exactly what we got.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it. Check it out.
I am the Maven of the Eventide, and the night has become a bittersweet realm.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Hey, my ambiance.
Hey, Elisa, I need my camera.
I told you, call me Maven when the candles are lit.
Are you doing that vampire shit again?
People need to be educated on these things.
You said you were gonna go out and get a job today.
Well, no one's hiring at night.
Look, you're a month and a half behind on rent. I cannot keep covering your part. Would you please get a real job? And I need my camera back.
I'll be in my coffin. As soon as I can afford one.